Hi, this is Scott Fargo with Bitcoinist.net. I'm sitting here with Daniel Winters, the owner of Global Tax Accountants, and he's going to give us a little bit of insight onto the kind of tricky scene with Bitcoins and cryptocurrencies on filing taxes, what you're supposed to do and what you're not supposed to do. We're going to start out today with like a short little video, get a little bit of background information on what's going on in the tax scene right now with it. And then later on, we're going to follow up with some different articles that'll go through and help clear up the air with a lot of questions that people have, whether it be what you do with your mining income, what happens if you're paid in Bitcoin, and what your employer should do and what you should do when you get paid in Bitcoin. So Daniel, could you start out, maybe summarize a little bit, since this is going to be the first part of a little bit of a series here, and kind of summarize what we're seeing in the landscape with tax accounting and the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency industry.
Absolutely. Hi, everybody. I'm Daniel Winters at Global Tax Accountants, and I just thought I would throw out a little plug and say you can find me on globaltaxaccountants.com. Thank you so much for the opportunity to talk about taxes today. So here's a quick summary of the rules for Bitcoin taxation. If you buy a Bitcoin and then sell that Bitcoin or exchange that Bitcoin, this is treated as a capital asset. Essentially, it's like you're selling stock. If you buy a Bitcoin for 100 and then 3 months later you sell it for 200, you have a $100 capital gain. It's an identical treatment to if you buy and sell stock.
What happens if you have a loss and you buy it for $100 and then you end up selling it for $50 3 months later?
If you buy Bitcoin for one price and sell it for a lower price, then you have a capital loss. And I've spoken to people in this position because you don't know, if you're trading, you don't always make money. So I've spoke to people about this, and people even have to be very specific. Well, I was trading on a foreign exchange and I have those losses. So what do I do? And my answer is, U.S. citizens and green card holders, we are taxed on our worldwide income. So what that means is if you have Bitcoins that are held in an exchange outside the United States and you buy and sell or you trade, you have to report the income. It's required.
And another question that's come up quite often, in fact, we just spoke with somebody about it, the three of us together. How should somebody who, say, is a freelancer like me, a writer, or somebody who's a videographer, how should they treat it when they get paid in Bitcoin, especially because a lot of employers aren't always issuing W-2s or even 1099s. So how would I file if, say, the owner of Bitcoinist paid me in Bitcoins, but I didn't get one of those?
Okay, so you're talking about a situation where there's a company and an employee is paid in Bitcoin.
Yes.
Okay, the IRS has made this crystal clear in their notice of March of 2014. If a business sends $1,000 of Bitcoin as compensation to someone, the contractor has $1,000 of income on that day. Your income, if you're working for Bitcoin, your income is the USD value on the day you receive those Bitcoins. So that's the simple part. Someone sends me $1,000 USD value of Bitcoin, and I then have $1,000 of income. Most people don't just do one-off projects, so if you get paid 12 times during the year, your USD value might be the same. You get $1,000 every month, but the Bitcoin value is different. Now here's the tricky part. Bitcoin, you get ordinary income on the day you receive those Bitcoins, but because Bitcoin is treated like a stock, if you get $1,000 worth of Bitcoin on Monday, and then on Friday you cash out the fiat and it's worth $1,100, you now have a $100 capital gain. So you were required to track this and report the differences because those are the rules. There's software available to do this. I work closely with a company called LibreTax, and they have great tools for tracking your Bitcoin transactions. They integrate directly with Coinbase. and local Bitcoinist.com. With their tool, also, you can input a public Bitcoin address, and it will pull all the transactions in, and it will generate a report which your accountant can then, or yourself, can use to when you file your tax returns.
And that's quite excellent because that's something that people are really worried about. One more quick question before we wrap it up, and we'll start a question and answer with you again in future articles because this is an excellent opportunity for us all to learn. One thing that's been on my mind as well as a lot of other miners' minds, whether they're a home miner mining with a small couple of units or whether they've got a whole garage full of them. Right now, how do we actually account for when we receive mining rewards?
Sure. Again, the IRS clearly stated their position about income from mining Bitcoins. What the IRS says is let's say you mine $1,000 of Bitcoin on one day. Your revenue, if you're a business, okay, you have $1,000 of revenues on the day that you mine the Bitcoins. Now, and each day, your revenues will be the USD value of the Bitcoins. For a business which is purchasing equipment, you've got ASIC miners, you've got all kinds of costs. These things run pretty hot, right? So you got to cool it all down. So you will then take your revenues and you will offset it with your expenses. Your expenses are probably paid in fiat. Your expenses might not be paid in fiat. They could be paid in Bitcoin. In which case, when you pay a bill in Bitcoin, you have to convert it into dollars for your books. So mining income, when you mine Bitcoins, it's income and the dollar value on the day you receive it. Now, if you don't have any expenses and it's a small thing, well, if you have no expenses, then your revenues equals your income.
Well, thank you very much for starting to clear up a lot of this and give us some guidance. And in the coming days and weeks, we're going to start working with you a little bit more. And we're actually going to ask, our viewers and our readers to send in some questions for us. And we'll sit down with Daniel and we'll talk to him both in video and in text form, and we'll hook you right up. Thank you for watching Bitcoinist.net.